said to that kid, "What, you want to join the army and drive a chariot? Are you crazy?"
Imagine that, wanting to be a charioteer rather than a scribe. After all, we've told those knuckleheads they still don't know how lucky they could have it.
I don't know what's so attractive about the army. Long, dusty rides in the desert, sitting behind a horse for long periods of time, having to duck all those arrows.
Just think, those kids could be scribes and get great jobs working for the government or even the pharaoh himself.
High pay, glamour, getting the inside scoop on all the government scandals. I told that boy he had a great career ahead of him, but he said our job is...
What? Too challenging? Too exciting?
Not exactly. He said our job was boring.
Boring? Boring? That is an outrage. What did you say to that ungrateful brat?
I used the secret weapon, and then he swore he'd never be anything but a scribe.
What secret weapon is that?
The stories. I told him that scribes get to hear and write down stories. I told him the story of Isis and Osiris.
Oh yes, Isis and Osiris. By the way, which story did you really use?
Stop kidding me. You must know the story. It's full of mystery, adventure, and it even has a happy ending.
Oh, sure. I know it. Absolutely. But there are lots of different versions of the stories. Can you tell me your version of the story?
Are you sure you're familiar with this material?
Well, sort of.
You don't know the story of Isis and Osiris? How did you get your scribe's license? Listen up while I tell you what you should already know. Right around the beginning of time, give or take a few years, there was the goddess of the sky, and she was called Nut. She gave birth to 5 gods on consecutive days. I know it sounds unlikely, but this is a myth after all. Unlikely things happen all the time in myths.
I was born first. You know how everybody loves the firstborn. I'm told the common folk said, "The Lord of the earth has been born," when I arrived on the scene, but I don't like to brag.
The moment you were waiting for. Drum roll, please. Set is born. That's me, the god of chaos. My mother didn't want me to be born and have an independent life. I had to jump out of her side instead of being born the usual fashion. If I had waited around, I might have never been born.
Quiet down, Set. You always need attention. Isis, was the 4th born. I have lots of powers like magic and wild wind.
Don't forget about me, big sister, the last one born. I may be the youngest of Nut's 5 children, but that doesn't mean I'm a 0. I am the goddess of death after all. I know it's not a pleasant job, but somebody has to do it.
Osiris soon proved that he was important, not just because he was the firstborn of the gods.
How? What exactly did Osiris do?
First, I taught them to obey the law and respect one another. Then, also so they could survive, I taught them how to raise crops.
Not too shabby, especially since most of Egypt is desert.
True, learning how to farm on a small strip of land isn't an easy feat.
And Osiris did all this not with force or bullying, but with common sense. He talked to the people, and they listened. The goddess Isis listened to him too.
My dear, let us be married. We'll make great partners and help turn Egypt into great civilization.
I do, and we will.
There was a great rejoicing when Isis and Osiris married. The heavens were filled with shouts of joy. Well, almost.
It makes me sick. Everyone loves Osiris. Now everyone loves the first married couple. Osiris gets all the attention and all the big temples. The rest of us gods get all the dusty little temples and tiny villages. This situation calls for little chaos.
Set cooked up a plot that would bring Osiris down from his high place. He didn't care that Osiris had helped the Egyptians survive and thrive in the desert.
I'll use Osiris' own vanity to trick him. Here's what I'll do. I'll make a beautiful box, the most beautiful box in the world, and I'll have to let Osiris do the rest. I'll have to make sure Isis is out of the way, though. She's too smart for my plot.
Set used all his powers to build a chest out of beautiful wood. He ordered artists to carve hunting scenes in the wood and then set precious stones in it.
Here are my orders. Follow them exactly, or else.
Boss, I've got one question. How big should this chest be?
Get the measurements from Osiris's tailor.
Oh, is this going to be a closet for the greatest of the gods?
Not exactly, and drop all that greatest of the gods stuff.
One night while Osiris was hosting a dinner party, one that Isis did not attend, Set appeared with a beautiful chest.
My dear fellow god, I'm so sorry to interrupt your little party, but I just had to show you something. Do you see what I was able to get my artists to do?
The crowd oohed and awed when they saw the beautiful box. All those in the room wanted it for themselves.
Now, Osiris, just to show you how generous I am, I'm going to give this box away. That's right, I'm going to give this box away for a limited time only to whoever can fit inside.
I should have that box for myself, but it would be undignifying for me to try.
I bet Set had planned for that, too.
You're right.
Isn't this interesting? No one fits in the box just right. Some are too big and some are too small. Everyone else is given the try except for you, Osiris.
With that, all the diners started to chant, Osiris, Osiris, Osiris. They called until the god smiled and stood up to try out the box.
I've got a feeling this is going to be a perfect fit. Are you comfy?
Oh, it feels as if it was tailor-made for me.
What an interesting thought.
As quickly as he could, Set gave a signal to his henchmen, and they rushed up to the chest. In a flash, they nailed the cover on, trapping Osiris inside. Then, to make sure he wouldn't get out, they poured hot lead over the box to seal it closed.
Why? Osiris probably couldn't breathe in there.
I'm afraid that was Set's plan,
Take it
but not the only part of his plan.
to the Nile and throw it in. Let the river rid of us of this know-it-all god.
Things seem pretty bleak.
Don't give up hope yet. The story's just beginning.
Let me see if I can recall what happened next. Don't tell me. Isis began to wonder what happened to Osiris.
I haven't seen my husband in days. Ever since that dinner party, I'm beginning to get worried. I wonder if that Set has...
Mention my name and I'll appear.
My husband is missing, and I think you have something to do with it.
Me? Everyone blames me for everything just because I'm the god of chaos. Is that fair? Your husband runs off and suddenly it's my fault.
I'm sorry, you and he didn't exactly see eye to eye.
I accept your apology. As your new leader, I think it's important to forgive and forget.
New leader?
Yes, I'm filling in for Osiris, who seems to have run off. Too much pressure for the old boy, I guess.
You're terrible. Just wait until Osiris comes back.
I've got a feeling I'll be waiting a very long time for that.
Isis grew tired of waiting for Osiris to turn home, so she set out to find him. She traveled in disguise far and wide across Egypt, hoping to find her husband. Finally, she came to a village at the very end of the Nile, just where the great river meets the sea.
Where's she at? I remember now. A little girl.
My dear, tell me, have any of the gods visited this place recently? Have you perhaps seen the great god Osiris?
Why, no, Grandmother. Almost nothing happens in our village. Why, the magnificent box are the biggest news in years.
Magnificent box? Tell me about it.
Well, it was big, big enough for someone to fit inside. It was beautiful, but all sealed up. We were going to open it and look for the jewels, but someone recognized the marks of Seth on it, so we put it back in the water right away. And there was also something else.
Tell me everything.
Everyone who got near the box said it gave off a powerful energy.
Quickly, tell me where the box went. The contents of the box are very important to me.
Isis followed the currents of the sea to the city of Byblus. She learned that the box had come ashore beside a small bush. The energy from Osiris's body caused the bush to grow into a great tree. Soon the tree grew around the box completely, and it kept growing. It became one of the greatest trees in the kingdom.
When Isis arrived on the scene, she discovered the king and queen of the city had taken the tree to be a pillar in their palace. But Isis still didn't give up.
I'll get a job at the palace and then plan my next move. After all, I can't just walk in and tear the beam down.
It just so happened that the queen needed someone to take care of her infant son, the prince. Isis disguised as an old woman again and was hired right away.
The king and queen are good people. I'll do something special for them before I ask for the tree trunk back. I'll use my magic fire to make their son immortal.
She placed the baby in the magical fire, which would not burn him, but would have prevented any enemy or disease from harming him. But just as the spell was beginning to work, the queen walked in.
A fire? My baby? Help! What's going on here? You horrible witch! What have you done to my child?
Your child is fine, but he'll never be immortal. You've broken my spell. And by the way, I am the goddess Isis.
Oh, goddess, forgive me. Don't be offended. I was just afraid for my son's life. Don't punish us. Let me make it up to you in some way. Whatever you want is yours.
Well, there is a rather large piece of wood I'm interested in.
Isis got the tree trunk from the palace. She cut through the wood and discovered Osiris's body. She brought her husband's body back to Egypt and hid it along the Nile.
Now we'll show everyone Set's dastardly work.
However, Set, who wanted to stay in long as possible, had other plans.
Isis has been gone a long time. That Snoop could find something that might make life difficult for me. I might look around and see what I can see.
As luck would have it, Set stumbled upon the right place.
What's this in these reeds? A box, a very familiar box. Isis has found the body, but she'll never use it with evidence against me. They'll never find Osiris now.
The evil Set tore the body of Osiris into bits and scattered them all around Egypt.
I think we've seen the end of Osiris.
When Isis returned and could not find Osiris, she was beside herself.
Has my husband's body disappeared again? What will happen to him in the afterlife? I must ask the other gods for help. Can anyone tell me what has happened?
Sister Icon, Set has scattered the body across the land.
Well, then I must find it. I will not rest until Osiris can rest.
Isis traveled throughout the land searching for Osiris. Wherever she found a bit of him, she dedicated a temple to his memory. Some say when she had gathered all the bits of his body together, she buried him. Osiris became the lord of the afterlife, ruling all over the countless dead. He became much more powerful than Set.
Oh, I love a happy ending.
I am retired now, but in my day, I was the right-hand man of the pharaoh, a great leader and powerful man. I'm retired now, and I don't care to discuss the good old days. However, I'll never forget the story of the treasure leaves and what my master, the pharaoh, did about them. I can still remember how it all started, as many things then did, with my master yelling.
Prime Minister, why aren't you ever here when I need you?
I'm sorry, Your Highness, but I was dealing with the report of famine in Lower Egypt. Remember how you told me to make it my top priority yesterday?
Yes, I vaguely remember, but two very important things have popped up.
Is there corruption in the government, Your Highness? Did the gods have some new information with you? Is the Nile about to flood?
No, nothing like that. I've discovered two very important things about myself. First, that I am growing old. Second, that I am too rich. What do you propose I do about these very serious problems?
Your Highness, everyone gets old, and I've never heard anyone complain about being too rich. Besides, you always found that I was simply being careful with your money. Remember when we talked about my salary that time?
How dare you speak of me in such a fashion? I'll have to call the guards, have you arrested and executed.
Wait, Your Highness, let's not overreact. I just realized how serious your problems really are. Remember, it takes the human brain a while to get to be godlike thinking.
I suppose you are right.
Also, I think I have a solution to your problem.
You better speak quickly or I'll call the guards myself.
It's time to build a tomb, an everlasting monument to your power and will hold some of your wealth for the afterlife. You should build your tomb like your grandfather and father built theirs.
Excellent idea.
Yeah, whatever you say, I will obey.
Start construction right away.
Yes, Your Highness.
Oh, and there's one more thing.
Yes, Your Highness.
I don't want this to cost an arm and a leg.
But you said you were too rich. Don't be ridiculous. You can be too rich.
With my life at stake, I did what I had to do. I hired the best tomb builder in Egypt. At least he was the best builder available. Everyone else seems to have been busy.
I'm so honored you have chosen me Prime Minister to serve the Pharaoh. Serving him will be a reward all by itself.
I'm glad you feel that way, because there's a slight problem you're going to have to deal with.
Don't worry, I'm experienced and I come from a long line of builders. My great-grandfather worked on the pyramids of Giza, and my father carved stone for the Temple of Karnak. What's the problem? Shift and stand from the working sites? Bad stone from the quarry? Lazy workers?
No, I'm afraid it's none of that stuff. It's money.
Money. Always an issue. I'll try to keep the cost down as much as I can.
No, you don't understand. There's plenty of other money for the building. The Pharaoh wants it to look great. He just doesn't want to pay once. He's a bit of a miser, to put it bluntly.
Well, money's rather important to me now that you think about it. Suppose we call this whole thing off. I think I've got some other work to do.
I'm afraid that's impossible. You've been selected for this royal task, and abandoning your job now may be considered an act of treason. You know what the punishment for treason is, don't you?
Bad seeds for the next year's Nile floods?
No, death.
Well, then I guess I'll build this great tomb for the glory of the Pharaoh. I'm grateful for anything I get.
You're getting smarter and smarter. I like a person who learns on the job.
And so the builder set to work. He wasn't happy about the job, but he worked hard at it. It took many years, and the builder became an old man, as I did, but the tomb was finally completed. I remember when I took the Pharaoh to see it.
Excellent, terrific. The builder has done a splendid job. Double the bonus. I did offer the builder a bonus, didn't I?
Yes, I will see that he receives full loaves of bread, especially since I hear he's close to death.
I may be being too generous, but make it day-old bread. Make it day-old bread. Now arrange for the first truckload of gold and jewels to be brought into my tomb.
I didn't know at the time that the builder was arranging for his own little bonus. He had called his two sons, Seti and Pepe, to see him.
Come close and listen to me, boys. You know I spent my best years of my life to that Pharaoh, and he never paid me a decent salary. Now I'm going to die without having wealth to pass on to you. You and your mother will be very poor.
Don't worry, Father. After all, we've learned to eat very little.
When I built the tomb, I created a secret passageway leading straight to the treasure room. On the east side, fifth stone to the edge, will slide aside if you push it, leading you straight to the treasure room.
Father, we're too honest to steal from the Pharaoh. Besides, he'll need all his precious treasures and jewels for the life after death.
Are you crazy? We deserve some of that treasure. Dad worked his heart out of that project. Let's go to the tomb tonight.
Wait, boys. Spend your time that I have remaining with me. Besides, give that Pharaoh some time to fill the place up with treasure.
The builder's sons waited. They watched each day as carefully guarded, covered carts rolled up to the tomb's entrance. They cried and mourned when their father's spirit passed out of this world and into the afterlife. Finally, they could stay away no longer. One night, they sneaked up to the tomb.
Pepe, look how easily the stone slides away when you press it.
Hey, that's the stone that Father told us about. Bring the torch inside.
They crawled through the opening to the treasure chamber. When they stepped inside, they were stunned.
Look at all that wealth. All the glimmering gold hurts my eyes.
So do the shining jewels.
Father, I know you can hear us, and you really can make us rich. Thank you.
Let's help ourselves to a pile of gold first.
They lost no time in filling their bags with stolen treasure.
My ugly bag is almost getting too heavy to carry.
Father, why didn't you make this passageway a bit wider? We need a cart to carry out our treasure.
When the brothers had taken as much as they could carry, they crawled back through the opening and replaced the sliding stone. The next day, the Pharaoh went to the tomb to visit his treasure.
I have to be the richest man in history. Hey, wait a minute. That pile looks quite a bit shorter than it did yesterday. Prime Minister, what's been going on here?
Your Highness, you yourself sealed this tomb yesterday. No one could have entered.
You better be right. I'm going to count the gold this time. Sit down, Prime Minister. This is going to take a while.
That night, shortly after the Pharaoh had finished counting his gold, The brothers revisited the tomb and walked off with more of the king's treasures. When the pharaoh returned to the tomb and discovered that more of the treasures were gone, he hid the cornice.
What's been going on here? Someone's been stealing from my tomb, but the door is still sealed.
Perhaps it's a ghost, Your Highness.
It must be a greedy ghost. Here's what we should do. We should place traps all around the floor and make sure they're not obvious. We'll trap this thief if he ever tries to steal again.
Seti and Peppy returned again that night, hungry for more treasures. In their eagerness for more loot, they did not see the traps that the pharaoh had set for them.
Oh, somebody just bit me. No, my leg is caught in a trap. I can't get out.
Sorry, brother, you're stuck. I guess we'll have to wait here until the guards come and find us.
We'll both be executed.
No, you won't. We'll probably be tortured, then executed.
You go save your life, go home, go to our mother, and use the gold we got. Take care of her.
No, I can't just leave you here to be arrested.
Our whole family will be lost. And there's one more thing you must do. You must promise.
I promise. What is that?
You must cut my head off with your sword so that nobody will be able to identify my body.
No.
A promise is a promise.
The younger brother did as he was told. The next day, the pharaoh opened the steel tomb and found inside it a headless corpse. He wasn't pleased.
Thieves have escaped me. Well, all except for this one. I'll identify him and find out his family. His whole family will pay for this insult.
Your Highness, you may find it difficult to get a straight answer out of the official. You did notice his head was missing.
Don't bother me with details. Here's what we should do. Hang the body from the palace walls, and if anybody looks sad while they walk past it, arrest them immediately. We'll find this thief's family yet.
Naturally, the mother of the surviving thief was terribly upset about her son's death.
I can't even give my child's body a decent burial. What will happen to him in the afterlife?
Mother, please calm down.
We've got to do something. Unless we get your brother's body back, I'm going to the pharaoh myself to confess.
Wait, Mother, don't do anything rash. I've gotten a plan that might work.
So Seti put his plan into action. First, he used some of the gold to buy some donkeys. On these donkeys, he put skins full of the most expensive wine he could find. Then he drove the donkeys to the wall of the palace where the guard was watching over his brother's body.
I'll just take some of the wine stoppers out of these wines and see what happens.
You there, what are you up to? Move along unless you know who the thief is.
Help! Help! My delicious and expensive wine I've been carrying is leaking out. Are there any brave guards in the area?
Well, I'd be glad to help.
The guard grabbed whatever he could, cups, bowls, and even his helmet. Then he ran to the wine and drank it.
I didn't say you could steal my wine. I said you could help.
Take it easy, stranger. We guards deserve a break once in a while. By the way, this wine is delicious.
Thanks for the compliment. I guess I should be more generous to our boys in uniform. Help yourself to some more wine.
One sip of wine led to another. Soon the guard had finished all the drink and became very sleepy and nodded off.
I suppose no one would mind if I took a little nap. Besides, that dead man isn't going to run away. Ha ha.
Now I'll take my brother's body so I can give it a proper burial.
By this point, the pharaoh was really mad. He thought that the thief must be laughing at him, so he made the thief capture his top priority, more important than wars or other affairs of state.
I'll show this thief who's the most cunning person in Egypt. Where's my daughter?
Right here, Father.
I'm gonna set another trap for this clever fellow. I'm gonna issue a proclamation saying it's time you're married. Anybody in the kingdom is eligible to marry you.
But I want to marry a rich man. I don't like common people.
Don't worry, you were a rich prince. But this is just a trap. Whoever wants to marry you will have to tell you the wickedest and cleverest thing he's ever done. And you're agreed to marry the guy with the best story.
But I want to marry a prince. You said I could.
Don't be silly. We'll marry a rich man, one that will make me lots of money. But this is just a trap. Whoever wants to... Are you off to tell you the wickedest and cleverest thing she's ever done? And when you hear anything about stealing from my tomb,
Grab them and call the guards. We'll have our thief.
The announcement went out across the kingdom. Young men began to line up to tell the princess their stories of cleverness and wickedness. Said he couldn't resist the challenge.
I know this is a trap, but I've got a plan in mind. But first I'll stop by the embalmers.
Oh, my son, are you going to make your funeral arrangements in advance?
No, I've got another idea.
Using his tricks, Said he somehow managed to get a dead man's eye. He placed it under the arm under his cloak so it looked like his own. They went to see the princess. Said he waited in a long line, and finally, he was escorted in to see the princess.
Next, what is it? It had better be good. None of the men in this kingdom have done anything clever or wicked. I behaved worse before I was 7 years old.
Princess, I've done something terrible.
That's what they all say.
No, really, I'm a wanted man.
Really? Do tell.
I stole treasure from the pharaoh's tomb with my brother.
Fascinating. Now tell me, did you do anything clever or wicked?
I tricked the palace guards and stole his body back.
Guards, arrest this man.
Though the princess thought that she had a firm grip on Seti, he jumped up and ran out through the doors before the guard could arrest him. She was left holding the arm.
Yuck, that's the last time I do a favor for my father. I hate to admit, but that thief was sort of cute.
After that episode, the pharaoh had new respect for the thief.
That was a clever thing that young thief did. Maybe I should adjust my attitude toward him. He's certainly smarter than any of the people I have in my government right now.
And I'm reconsidering marrying that prince from Assyria you set me up with. He's not nearly as smart or handsome as that thief.
Prime Minister, issue a proclamation saying that if the thief comes forward now, I'll give him amnesty.
Amazingly enough, Seti believed the pharaoh.
It's just another trap, son. Don't fall for it.
I think the pharaoh is serious this time. Besides, now that I've seen the princess up close, I've got another incentive.
Suit yourself, son, but I think you should make another trip to the embalmer.
He walked right up to the palace and turned himself into the guard. Within moments, he was standing right before the pharaoh.
It was I, Your Highness, who stole your treasures from your tomb with my brother. I tricked the palace guards and stole his body back. I ask for your forgiveness.
Forgiveness, nonsense. I'll give you a reward instead. First, you can marry my daughter. Second, you can keep all the gold you stole. And third, you can have a great job in my government.
Hooray, finally have someone I can talk to.
Thank you, Your Highness. You will not regret this.
Your Highness, you've suddenly become a kind and generous person. Part of your greatness is that you can change your mind. Change my mind? Don't be silly. I'm certainly not generous, and I can't not forgive. But I just realized this young thief can make me lots of money. Who knows? Maybe one day he'll be a great prime minister.
I guess this would be the wrong time to bring up the issue of a raise.